The worst part about being accused of something you didn't do is realizing how much you secretly wish it were true. That's what ran through my head the second I opened my eyes and found half the campus staring at Uzmi and Ryan, tangled together like a scene from a cheesy rom-com. Except this was the university library, not a movie set. His blonde hair brushed against my cheek, his breath warm on my neck, and my shoulder was still numb where he had been leaning for God knows how long. We must have dozed off while studying, but the problem was, we didn't just look like two exhausted students. No, to everyone standing around, whispering and giggling, we looked like lovers. And maybe, just maybe, I didn't hate the idea. Ryan stirred beside me, blinking awake, confusion painting his features before realization hit. His face turned red, and he quickly sat up, but it was too late. The damage was done. Phones were out, pictures snapped, rumors spreading faster than wildfire across the campus. "Ethan," he hissed, running a hand through his hair. "This is bad. Bad." That was one word for it. I called it catastrophic. But there was another part of meth part I'd been burying for years that called it fate. We both scrambled to gather our books, but by the time we escaped the suffocating stairs, the whispers had already morphed into bold statements. "They're dating." I knew it. About time someone found out. It would have been easier if Ryan had laughed it off, denied it instantly, but instead he stayed quiet. His silence screamed louder than words, and I couldn't tell if that terrified me or gave me hope. Walking across the quad, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows, I felt the weight of his presence beside me. Ryan had always been the golden boy, charming, athletic, the kind of guy everyone loved without even trying. I was the opposite. Quiet, sarcastic, hiding behind my hoodie and headphones. We had been friends for years, unlikely ones, bonded through late-night study sessions and shared secrets. But now, one accidental nap had shifted everything. "People are going to think," he started, then stopped, biting his lip. "That we're together," I finished for him, my voice flatter than I intended. He nodded. His eyes met mine for a brief second, and I swear there was something there, something more than embarrassment. But just as quickly, he looked away. By the next morning, the rumor wasn't just a rumor. It was fact. People smiled at us in the hallway, congratulated us like we had just come out. Girls squealed. Guys clapped Ryan on the back. It was infuriating. And yet, for reasons I couldn't admit even to myself, it was also intoxicating. "Guess we're officially dating now," Ryan joked nervously at lunch, pushing his tray toward mine like he always did. "Yeah," I muttered, stabbing at my fries, without ever asking me out first. "Rude." He laughed, but I wasn't entirely joking. The thing was, Ryan had no idea. No idea that for years, I'd caught myself staring a little too long when he smiled, or that I'd memorized the way his voice dipped when he was tired. He didn't know that every hug lingered for me. Every brush of his hand against mine sent a current through my veins. He didn't know that when people said we'd make a cute couple, my heart secretly agreed. And now, trapped in this accidental lie, I was starting to wonder what would happen if we stopped pretending it wasn't true. But life wasn't a romance movie. There were stakes. We lived in a small college town in the Midwest, where being different wasn't always welcomed. My family didn't know, his family didn't know. And most terrifying of Allie didn't know what Ryan actually wanted. That night, as I lay in bed, phone buzzing with messages I ignored, I replayed the look on his face when we woke up in the library. Embarrassment, yes, but something softer too. Something like longing? Maybe I was imagining it. Maybe I wanted it too badly. Still, when Ryan knocked on my dorm door the next day, holding 2 cups of coffee and wearing that sheepish smile that always unraveled me, I knew one thing for sure. This story wasn't finished yet. Ryan sat down at the edge of my bed, the coffee cups balanced in his hands. "We need to talk," he said softly, as if he was afraid of waking a monster inside me. I tried to act casual, like my heart wasn't racing. "About the world suddenly deciding we're boyfriends?" He chuckled, though it didn't reach his eyes. "Yeah, about that." He handed me one of the cups. "I mean, it's crazy, right? Everyone's convinced. Like we don't even get a say. Do you want to?" I asked before I could stop myself. Get a say? His blue eyes flicked to mine, full of something unreadable. I don't know. Maybe. Do you? That was the question that had been burning in my chest for years. I swallowed, unsure if my honesty would ruin us. Sometimes I think I do. Sometimes I think I don't. But I can't tell if that's because I'm scared of what people would think, or because I'm scared of what I'd want if it were real. The silence that followed was suffocating, until Ryan finally whispered, "Ethan, what if I told you I don't hate the idea?" The world tilted. My throat went dry. You don't. He shook his head, his cheeks flushed. I've been thinking about it ever since the library. I mean, people already believe it. And when I think about it, really think about it, it doesn't feel wrong. Being with you never has. I laughed, nervous and breathless. Ryan, you can't just say things like that. Not unless you mean them. I mean them, he said, voice steady now. I think I've meant them for a long time. The weight of his confession hung in the air, fragile and precious. I wanted to reach for him, close the distance, but fear rooted me in place. What if tomorrow he changed his mind? What if this ruined everything? But then he leaned closer, so close I could see the tiny freckles on his nose, and said, "Tell me I'm not crazy for wanting this." "You're not crazy," I whispered. "You're just a little late. I've wanted this for years." The kiss was tentative at first, soft and careful, like testing the waters of something dangerous. Then it deepened, pulling me under, and for the first time in forever, I didn't feel like I was drowning. I felt like I was finally breathing. The next weeks weren't easy. Whispers turned into stares, and some of those stares weren't kind. A few friends stopped talking to me. I caught wind of cruel jokes behind our backs. Ryan, golden boy that he was, faced his own share of judgment, but he never once wavered. One night, after a particularly rough day, I found him waiting outside my dorm, leaning against the brick wall with a determined look. "I'm not hiding anymore," he said firmly. "Not from them. Not from anyone." It terrified me, the boldness in his words, but it also lit a fire in me. We weren't just surviving the rumors anymore, we were rewriting the story ourselves. We started sitting together openly in the cafeteria, walking across campus side by side without pretending there was space between us. The more we owned it, the less power the whispers had. And slowly, the noise began to fade, replaced by something else. Acceptance. Not from everyone, but from enough. One evening, near the end of the semester, we found ourselves back in the library. The same table, the same golden light streaming through the windows. Ryan nudged me with his shoulder and smirked. "Think anyone will catch us this time?" "Probably," I said, smiling despite myself. "But maybe that's okay." He reached across the table and took my hand, bold and unashamed. "Definitely okay. We didn't fall asleep that day, but we didn't need to." The truth was out, written in every glance, every touch, every laugh that belonged only to us. I used to think the worst part of being accused of something you didn't do was the lie itself. But now I knew better. Sometimes the scariest part was realizing the lie was the truest thing you'd ever wanted. And sometimes, if you were lucky, it wasn't a lie at all. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.